World War II, a conflict that rumbled across the globe from 1939 to 1945, is our focus today. This period, stained by the suffering and courage of millions, offers countless stories waiting to be told. So, sit back, relax, and allow us to guide you through this devastating chapter of the human saga. Our journey begins not on the battlefield of 1939, but amidst the ruins left by World War I. In its wake, Germany was plunged into economic and political instability, a fertile ground for extremist ideologies to take root. The Treaty of Versailles, initially intended to secure peace, instead served as a catalyst for resentment. The harsh conditions and severe reparations it imposed on Germany fanned the flames of nationalism, fostering a deep-seated animosity. Thus, the stage was set for a more devastating war. The treaty and the rise of extremist ideologies in Germany were not isolated incidents, but intertwined links in a chain of continuous global upheaval. Rewind to the political climate in Europe prior to the infamous date of September 1, 1939. Tensions were escalating with Hitler's aggressive foreign policy at the epicenter. His ambitions were not merely territorial, they were driven by a deeply ingrained ideological doctrine aiming to redraw the world's borders. On March 12, 1938, Austria was the first country to be annexed by Germany, and the majority of Austrian people welcomed the Germans into the country, believing the joining would heal Austria's stagnant economy. The joining of Austria and Germany had been forbidden in the Treaty of Versailles at the end of World War I, but Adolf Hitler believed Austria was an extension of Germany. On September 29, 1938, Germany went on to take over Sudetenland, a region of Czechoslovakia that bordered Germany and was populated mainly by ethnic Germans. The takeover was accomplished with minimal bloodshed. The world watched, and in a failed policy of appeasement, allowed Hitler's forces to grow stronger. This set the stage for Hitler's forces to storm into Poland in 1939, an act that would ignite the fuse of the Second World War. The formation of the two prominent coalitions during the World War was a hectic process, etched in history by significant events and ideological contrasts. The Axis powers, a tripartite pact led by Germany, Italy, and Japan, emerged from mutual interests and shared ideologies rooted in expansionism and totalitarianism. They were brought together by common ambitions and an aim to disrupt the global balance of power. Contrarily, the Allied powers, initially spearheaded by the United Kingdom and the Soviet Union, and later joined by the United States, came together not just due to strategic reasons, but also because of shared democratic values. They were united by their common objective to resist the Axis's imperialistic ambitions and uphold the democratic ethos. After Germany's invasion of Poland, the United Kingdom and France declared war on Germany. This was not merely an international conflict of armies, but a profound ideological clash that threatened the core of human civilization. The Axis and Allies, divergent in their beliefs and ambitions, were set on a collision course, and the world could only watch as these two monumental forces clashed. Central to the discord was Adolf Hitler's conception of a supreme Aryan race, a misconception that powered the Nazis' military operations and reached its zenith in the Holocaust. Hitler's racial ideology served as the foundation of the Nazi political program, which ignited the horrendous acts that ensued. This racial doctrine didn't just spur scattered acts of violence, but it kick-started a systematic and organized genocide, demonstrating the horrifying depths of human depravity. But did you know that Adolf Hitler, with his brown hair and blue eyes, was not originally a German citizen? He was born in Austria and became a German citizen only in 1932, a year before he was elected German Chancellor. Despite the racial doctrine, there were Germans that opposed Hitler's ideology and actively aided the Jews. Hermann Göring, a prominent Nazi figure once designated as Hitler's successor, had a sibling named Albert Göring who opposed the Nazi ideology, especially his elder brother's actions. Albert's vocal anti-Nazi stance led to numerous arrests by the Gestapo, but interventions by the Reich Marshal often secured his release. With the help of his surname, Albert was able to save Jews from certain death in the gas chambers. He provided them with money and false papers by forging Hermann's signature on vital documents, thus helping them escape abroad rather than be deported. Regrettably, upon his return to Germany post-war, he faced ostracization from his compatriots due to the infamous Göring surname. Did you know that the Germans began their blitzkrieg in the west by capturing Fort Eben-Emael on the Belgian-Dutch border? The fort was designed to defend Belgium against a German attack across the narrow belt of Dutch territory in the region. Constructed between 1931 and 1935, it was reputed to be impregnable and, at the time, the largest fort in the world. In just 24 hours with 80 paratroopers, the Germans overcame its 1,200 defenders on May 10, 1940. Their success cleared the way for German ground forces to enter Belgium. In a far-off corner of the globe, Japan was nurturing its imperial ambitions, looking to establish a firm foothold in Asia and the Pacific. The pursuit of these aspirations led to the invasion of China and Southeast Asia, causing a domino effect of events that fundamentally reshaped the trajectory of the war. The shockwaves of Japan's actions were felt far and wide, but perhaps nowhere more so than in the United States. The U.S. had not joined the war but was eventually drawn into a complex web of conflict when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor on Sunday, December 7th. The shaky relationship between the U.S. and Japan can be traced back to Commodore Matthew Perry's 1853 expedition to Japan, aimed at breaking through Japan's self-imposed isolation and establishing trade relations with the U.S. The success of his venture was attributed mainly to the military advantage his men held with firearms, leading the Japanese to regard their uninvited guests as uncivilized intruders. Both nations had territories and interests in Asia, and harbored concerns regarding potential threats from the other. For decades, there was escalating tension alongside endeavors through diplomacy to mitigate the risk of confrontation. The animosity between the two competing nations significantly intensified in 1940, following an agreement with the French Vichy government, which granted Japan authority over Indochina. In response to Japan's aggressive territorial ambitions, President Franklin D. Roosevelt aimed to curb their expansionist endeavors by freezing all Japanese assets in the U.S. and instituting an oil embargo. On Sunday, December 7th, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. Highlighting the worldwide effect of the war, it's crucial to note the involvement of soldiers from Africa and the Caribbean. These brave individuals from far corners of the globe joined the battle lines, underscoring the war's truly global reach. Over 1 million African soldiers fought for colonial powers during World War II, and hundreds of thousands of West African soldiers were sent to the front in Europe and other regions. They served in various roles, from combat to support roles like bearers, and faced perilous conditions, leading to a significant number of casualties. Similarly, soldiers from the Caribbean also contributed to the war effort, often serving in the British Armed Forces. African American soldiers also fought for their country despite the racism they often endured. Their participation not only challenged preconceived narratives, but also added depth to our comprehension of the war's pervasive influence. The contributions made and the adversities faced by black soldiers from Africa, the Caribbean, and America amplify the complexity of the war, thereby offering a richer understanding of its extensive implications. As the war neared its end, shadows of betrayal loomed within the Axis ranks. Heinrich Himmler, once a staunch orchestrator of Hitler's vision, abandoned his post, showcasing the crumbling facade of the Nazi regime. Heinrich Himmler was one of Hitler's first supporters. He became the head of the Schutzstaffel, SS, and was put in charge of Army Group Vistula, a group of 500,000 soldiers assigned to protect Berlin. During the last months of the war, Himmler experienced escalating psychosomatic ailments, gradually becoming alienated by Hitler's circle. In April 1945, it emerged that Himmler aspired to succeed Hitler, having engaged in talks with Swedish Count Folke Bernadotte to surrender to the Western Allies and for an alliance against the Soviet Union. Hitler promptly revoked Himmler's titles and ordered his arrest. Disguised as an ordinary soldier, Himmler tried to flee. He was captured by the Western Allies and poisoned himself. The curtains fell with Germany's surrender in May 1945, yet Japan fought on until September. It was a testament to the indomitable spirit of nations, albeit driven by diverging ideals. And as the sun set on the Axis powers, a new world order dawned. In summary, World War II was not just a simple clash of nations. It was a complex web of events, ideologies, and individuals, all intertwining to create one of the most significant periods in human history. From the seeds of conflict sown by the Treaty of Versailles to the ideological battles that tore the world apart, World War II shaped the world as we know it today. Hidden within the well-known narrative are countless stories of courage, sacrifice, and betrayal that challenge our understanding of this dark period. If this journey through history has captivated you, don't forget to hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more explorations into the pages of history that shape our today.